What if the reason you're still struggling isn't because you don't work hard enough, but because you're chasing success the exact way everyone told you to? Think about that for a second. Every day, millions of people believe that doing more, trying harder, and never stopping is the only path to winning. But what if that belief is quietly pushing success further away? The most successful people don't spend their lives chasing every opportunity. They think differently. They wait differently. They act differently. And that's exactly why they win while everyone else stays exhausted. In this video, you'll discover the hidden psychological shift that separates people who constantly run after results from those who seem to attract them effortlessly. You'll learn why your brain keeps pulling you toward the wrong decisions, why patience feels so uncomfortable even when it's the smartest move, and how changing one invisible habit can completely transform the way you approach money, success, decisions, and even your relationships. But here's what most people never realize. The harder you chase something, the more emotional you become. And the more emotional you become, the easier it is to lose control without even noticing it. By the end of this journey, you'll see opportunities through a completely different lens. And don't make the mistake of leaving early, because the final lesson reveals the one mental shift that quietly changes everything, yet almost nobody talks about it. Once you understand it, you'll never look at success the same way again. If at any point this video changes the way you think, let that be your sign to like this video, share it with someone who's working hard but getting nowhere, and subscribe because the strongest investment you can ever make is not in the market. It's in the mind that makes every decision. Chapter 1. The Trap of Chasing. Every opportunity. Imagine standing in front of two doors. One promises instant rewards. The other stays closed, silent, offering no guarantees. Most people don't hesitate. They run toward the first door because movement feels like progress. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Constant movement and real progress are rarely the same thing. From the moment we're young, we're taught that if we want something, we should chase it. Chase better grades, chase more money, chase bigger opportunities, chase success before someone else gets there first. It sounds inspiring, but over time, this belief quietly rewires the way we think. We begin to confuse action with achievement. This pattern doesn't only show up in life. It shows up every single day in trading, business, careers, and relationships. People jump from one opportunity to another, afraid that the next big chance will disappear if they wait. They believe missing one opportunity is a disaster. Ironically, that fear becomes the very reason they keep missing the opportunities that actually matter. Think about someone checking stock charts every few minutes. Every small price movement feels important. Every headline feels urgent. Every candle creates excitement or fear. Soon they're no longer following a plan. They're following their emotions. And emotions have one goal: to make you react, not to make you right. Here's something interesting. Your brain is designed to protect you, not to make you successful. Thousands of years ago, reacting quickly kept humans alive. Today, that same instinct pushes us to make impulsive decisions whenever uncertainty appears. We feel uncomfortable doing nothing, so we convince ourselves that any action is better than waiting. But that's an illusion. The world's highest performers don't win because they act more often. They win because they act with greater clarity. They understand that every unnecessary decision drains attention, confidence, and emotional energy. They don't chase every opportunity because they know that every yes to the wrong opportunity is a no to the right one. Now picture two traders. One enters 10 trades every day, believing effort guarantees profit. The other spends hours observing, taking only one trade when everything aligns with the plan. At first glance, the first trader looks more committed. But over weeks and months, the second trader often builds something far more valuable: consistency. Consistency isn't exciting. It doesn't create dramatic stories. It creates lasting results. The surprising part is that the greatest opportunities rarely demand speed. They demand discipline. They reward the person who can remain calm while everyone else feels the pressure to act. And this raises an important question. If chasing every opportunity is the real trap, then how do you develop the patience to ignore the noise without feeling like you're falling behind? That's where everything begins to change. Chapter 2. Why patience creates bigger wins than action. Have you ever noticed how waiting feels harder than working? Sitting still while everyone else is making moves can feel almost painful. Your mind starts asking uncomfortable questions. What if I'm missing the opportunity? What if everyone else succeeds before I do? What if waiting turns out to be a mistake? These thoughts don't come from logic. They come from fear. And fear has an incredible ability to disguise itself as urgency. This is why so many people mistake constant action for productivity. They believe they're getting closer to success simply because they're always doing something. But being busy and being effective are two completely different things. Imagine an experienced archer aiming at a distant target. They don't release the arrow the moment they pull the bowstring. They breathe. They focus. They wait until everything is perfectly aligned. To an impatient observer, it looks like they're wasting time. But in reality, every second of patience increases the chance of hitting the target. Life works the same way. The strongest decisions are rarely rushed. They're prepared. They're intentional. They're emotionally controlled. Here's something most people never realize. Patience isn't about doing nothing. Patience is active. While others are reacting, patient people are observing. While others are chasing, they're collecting information. While others are controlled by emotion, they're strengthening their judgment. That invisible difference changes everything. Think about a trader who watches the market for hours without placing a single trade. Many people would call that boring. Some would even call it lazy. But the truth is exactly the opposite. It takes far more mental strength to resist a bad opportunity than to jump into one. The human brain craves immediate rewards. Every small action gives us the feeling that we're making progress. That's why scrolling, checking charts, refreshing numbers, and making impulsive decisions become addictive. The brain rewards activity, even when that activity leads nowhere. But successful people learn to break this cycle. They stop asking, "How can I do more?" Instead, they ask, "What deserves my attention?" That single question filters out countless distractions. Results don't come from the number of decisions you make. They come from the quality of the few decisions that truly matter. And here's the paradox. The less desperate you become for immediate results, the more clearly you begin to see opportunities that others completely miss. Patience sharpens perception. Emotion blurs it. The people who always seem lucky usually aren't luckier than everyone else. They simply refuse to let urgency make their decisions. But patience alone isn't enough. You can wait for days, weeks, or even months, and still make the wrong move if your mind isn't trained to recognize the right moment. So the real challenge isn't learning how to wait. It's learning how to think while you wait. And that's the invisible skill that separates ordinary performers from truly exceptional ones. Chapter 3. Training your mind to wait for the right trade. Imagine two people looking at the exact same chart. They have the same information. They see the same price movement. Yet one walks away with confidence, while the other walks away with regret. The difference isn't the market. The difference is the mind that's looking at it. Most people think discipline begins when it's time to make a decision. But discipline starts long before that. It begins with the thoughts you allow to grow inside your mind. Every time you see an opportunity, your brain starts telling a story. This could be the big one. If I miss this, I'll regret it. Just one quick trade won't hurt. These thoughts appear so naturally that they feel like facts. But they're not facts. They're emotional predictions disguised as logic. Here's something fascinating. Your mind doesn't hate uncertainty. It hates the feeling of not being in control. That's why waiting feels uncomfortable. Doing something, anything, creates the illusion that you're taking control of the situation. But an illusion of control is still an illusion. The strongest traders understand a simple principle. They don't train themselves to predict the future. They train themselves to trust their process. That changes everything. Imagine a pilot preparing for takeoff. Before the plane ever leaves the ground, every system is checked. Every procedure is followed. Not because the pilot expects something to go wrong, but because consistency removes unnecessary risk. Success isn't built on confidence alone. It's built on preparation. Your decisions should work the same way. Instead of asking, "Do I feel good about this trade?" ask, "Does this trade meet every rule I've already decided on?" Feelings change every minute. Rules don't. That's why professionals rely on systems instead of emotions. When you remove emotion from the decision-making process, something incredible happens. You stop trying to force opportunities. You become comfortable letting dozens of average setups pass because you know you only need a few exceptional ones. That mindset is powerful. It protects your capital. It protects your confidence. Most importantly, it protects your identity. Because every impulsive decision slowly teaches your brain that emotions are in charge. But every disciplined decision teaches your brain that patience is your true advantage. Over time, this becomes more than a habit. It becomes who you are. You no longer feel the need to prove yourself through constant action. You no longer compare your journey with everyone else's. You stop chasing excitement and start chasing excellence. And that's when something remarkable happens. The market doesn't seem less chaotic because it changed. It seems less chaotic because you changed. But there is one final transformation that separates people who occasionally stay disciplined from those who consistently win year after year. It isn't about strategy. It isn't about intelligence. It's about becoming the kind of person who no longer feels the need to chase success at all. And that final shift changes everything. Chapter 4. Becoming the trader who lets profits come naturally. Picture yourself sitting in front of the market. The charts are moving. News is breaking. Prices are rising and falling every second. Months ago, you would have felt the urge to jump in immediately. Your heart would race. Your mind would search for reasons to act. But today, something is different. You don't feel rushed. You don't feel pressured. You simply observe. That single change is more powerful than it looks. The biggest transformation in trading doesn't happen when you discover a new strategy. It happens when you stop believing that every market movement deserves your attention. You finally understand that your job isn't to catch every opportunity. Your job is to protect your ability to recognize the right one. This is where most people get it backward. They think profitable traders make more decisions. In reality, profitable traders often make fewer, but far better decisions. Every trade carries a cost, not just financial risk, but mental energy. Every impulsive entry chips away at confidence. Every emotional mistake makes the next decision even harder. Before long, people aren't trading the market anymore. They're reacting to their own emotions. The people who win, consistently, refuse to play that game. They measure success differently. A good day isn't the day they make the most money. A good day is the day they follow their process without compromise. That shift changes everything. Because once your identity becomes connected to discipline instead of results, temporary losses no longer control your emotions. You stop asking, "Did I make money today?" Instead, you ask, "Did I make the right decision today?" Ironically, that's when better results begin to appear. Success has a strange pattern. The more desperately you chase it, the further away it seems. The more patiently you prepare for it, the more naturally it arrives. This principle reaches far beyond trading. It shapes your career, your finances, your relationships, even your peace of mind. The people who create extraordinary lives rarely spend their days running after every opportunity. They build standards, they build habits, they build emotional control. And because they become the right person, the right opportunities begin finding them. Remember the message that started this journey. Stop chasing. Start winning. At first, it sounded like a motivational phrase. Now you know it's a psychological truth. Winning isn't created by endless action. It's created by clear thinking, by emotional control, by patience, by trusting your process when your emotions beg you to abandon it. So the next time life tempts you to chase, pause for a moment and ask yourself one question. Am I reacting because this is the right opportunity, or because I can't tolerate waiting? The answer to that single question may shape not only your next trade, but the person you become. Because in the end, the greatest victory is never over the market. It's over the mind that once believed it had to chase everything to win.